Hello, how do you do? Welcome to TPS 2020. My name is Garrett, Olympus UK Macro Ambassador, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I use Instagram, specifically the stories feature, to connect with and share, the outdoors with folks who are like-minded and who like the macro stuff as well. So yeah, let's get to it. It looks way weirder from that angle than it does this one. See, I'm shooting. Look, see, got to set up, but like from this distance, I just look like I'm lost, like trying to find a signal. Right, time to get a bit soggy, I'm afraid. Started raining, but I did spot these tiny little flies. I've got my E1 Mark III, I've got my 60mm macro lens, I've got two sets of extension tubes on there, which increase the magnification, but they kill the light. So I've got my FL900R flash gun to make up some of that light. Ooh, there's an ant! Hang on. There's an ant. Right, bear with. Might be lucky. Where you going, fella? Come here. So, for you photographers, I got a quick tip. I'm shooting at 250th of a second. My aperture is at f5. ISO is at 500, just to pull in some ambient light. Oh, there we go. And I'm getting some nice shots. He's moving, he's walking around. I really wish I didn't watch the Blair Witch Project the other day. Look at that tree! Very Lothlorien. So now we're settled by this beautiful tree. We're gonna have a little bit of a chat about how the Instagram social media stories led me to become an Olympus ambassador. It's pretty remarkable how it happened. Kind of happened by accident, but I guess not gonna complain. If you don't know what stories are, they're just little videos so you can post on your Instagram feed, but that's not actually on your main page. They kind of happen up in the background and they disappear, thankfully, within 24 hours. So that gives you a little bit of grace. So you know, hey, doesn't matter what I do, because one, I could delete it if it goes really bad, and two, it's gone next day anyway. So my approach to the whole social media thing from the beginning was quite laid back. I just wanted to have fun and I wanted other people to have fun. So when I go out and I'm doing my Instagram stories, I tend to not take life too seriously. It's photography at the end of the day. It should be fun. And it's macro photography. You can't help but be transformed into like a big kid again. Macro photography is quite niche. You need specialist equipment to do it. And it can take quite a bit of practice to get used to everything. One of the key parts of using Instagram for me was trying to help other people. So I would jump on the stories, you could put in a box, ask any questions, and then folks would ask me, about focus stacking, about depth of field, shooting angles, and I would answer them there and then. It's really, really fun. It's super nice to be able to help people. If it's maybe Olympus specific, I would put, hashtag Olympus Macro or @Olympus UK, just to tag them in. Olympus started sharing them. They started responding, and I was like, in the early days, I figured you're gonna need about 20 billion followers just for these brands to even look at you and things like that. So it wasn't really something on my mind. I just wanted to have fun. My approach to photography being fun, traveling around, sharing with the sense of community just naturally fitted in with the Olympus brand. So I wasn't forcing anything, and everything snowballed kind of organically. Olympus as a brand are very community inclusive. They love sharing and seeing photographs that Olympus users take. And I'm kind of like that myself. I love seeing other people's work. So over time, after sending messages back and forth, tagging a lot of work, I got invited to some events, I got to some talks, and started building up like a face-to-face relationship. And we realized that we've got an awful lot in common and we all got on really, really well. And I think that's the biggest thing about this is that you have to get on with folks. And it just turns out that we, you know, it was kind of meant to be, I feel. I think it was meant to be. Bourbon break. I'm very lucky in the sense that I got, I think, about 4,000-ish followers now. It's quite a lot of people. You imagine just being stood in front of 4,000 folks. That's crazy. I'm grateful for every single one. I was grateful for my first follower, and I'm grateful for whoever follows along indefinitely. It's just so cool that people want to engage with this macro world. It's humbling that folks like to look at my pictures and just keep up to date with what I'm doing. These woods are good. So do my own stories and Olympus viewing them. Eventually that led me to be able to actually sign into Olympus's Instagram page and take over there too. That's amazing. To have that level of trust is unbelievable. I never ever expected that. Jump in now with a couple of tips and tricks that maybe help you along your own baby social media journey. Number one, the most important thing is to be yourself. Now it feels weird. Sometimes you think, hey, I gotta be a super professional presenter. Maybe that's true, but I can't do that. I can't do it. Doesn't look right. People can tell when you're not being genuine. In the early days, I wasn't being myself, and you could tell there's an audience for everyone. And if you just be yourself, then you're gonna make genuine connections with like-minded people who share your view, share your enthusiasm, and then that way, everything's hunky-dory. In the early days, when I first started pointing the camera at myself and having a chat, I was hyper aware that I was doing it. I was wondering who's over there looking at me, who's gonna see me like this, talking to myself. I was really kind of nervous about how I would be perceived. So I ended up coming across like a robot. I was really fake. You could see it. It looked odd. Everything changed for me, I think, when I just let go of that. Everything else just started falling into place. When you can embrace who you are and just project it, life becomes a little bit easier. So in real life, face to face, it would take a long time to truly get to know somebody, won't it? But through social media, if you're posting a little snippet here and there, you're building up over time, people can see that you're consistent. You're not changing, you're not fluctuating, you're not a robot one day, you're not being really wacky the next, you're just being who you are. People get to know you. So be yourself, relax, enjoy life, and take everyone else along for the ride. Tip number 2, follow your passion. Now I know that sounds a bit on the nose, a bit obvious, but there's no point in me doing videos about welding when I'm gonna clear out weld. I love macro photography, I love being in nature, so just do videos based about that. If you're into gaming, do that. If you're into sewing, do that. If you're into metal detecting, do that as well. I like metal detecting. I know, I give you permission here to just do the thing you love to do. So whatever your interests are, post stuff about that. And then you're gonna build a nice community of folks who are interested in the same thing as you, and you can share ideas, and then that way you get better and everybody else gets better too. It's nice. It's a nice way of doing things. Hello, I'm by this big log, and I've just spotted this epic moss sporophyte. And the raindrops have collected on there, and the forest is actually reflecting in the raindrops. So I've got my 60mm macro lens, one set of extension tubes, my FL900R, and now I'm going to shoot a focus stack, which is multiple frames at different focus distances. So you blend all the sharp bits together, get rid of the bits that aren't sharp, and then the result is one picture where everything is in focus. Should be pretty cool. So I'm gonna crack on with that now. So excited to have found it. Oh, there he goes again, he's lost. Trying to find a signal. Don't get yourself comfy now, okay? Gee whiz. Oh, that's what it's about. So I'll just talk to you about what I'm using. I think that'd be quite nice. So I'm using my EM1 Mark III. This is a wicked good camera. It's got 7 stops of stability, which is epic for us macro shooters, isn't it? I've got my 60mm macro lens and my FL900R. Now this and this and this are weather sealed, so rainproof, which is pretty much vital. So who would have thought, right, that by starting off about 2 years ago, doing these little Instagram videos, it ended up with me being sent all the way to the Amazon rainforest to launch this brand new camera. I couldn't believe it. And that's through social media. It's ridiculous what you can achieve, and you just don't know where it's going to take you. Just don't know. Thank you so much for joining me in the woods today. I hope you picked up a couple of tips and tricks, but more importantly, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I certainly had a whale of a time. If you want to follow along with my Instagram, you know, all the stories and whatnot, there'll be a link somewhere, but if not, it's at Geraint Radford Macro. Ciao for now. Enjoy the rest of the show. Enjoy the rest of the show. 2020. Cheers. Have a good Christmas.